Healing for your home, the Redeemed Marriage Podcast.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. For some reason, with you playing the thing from our soundboard, it just makes me feel a little more ready for the podcast.
I feel like a DJ.
Instead of, we need one that goes,
I don't do a very good one.
I don't either. I am not a rapper. I was not a rapper in my former life. All right. Hey, welcome back to Summer Shorts. We are answering your questions. And hey, this is great because we sort of have a bank of questions. People are always writing in, and we can pull from different questions at any point. We have a mentoring group that sends in questions pretty much weekly for part of one of the things that we do with them, some question and answer sessions. But then so many of you reach out on social media. And so today we actually got this question today.
Yeah.
And so
we just moved it right on up to the top.
We did. We moved it to the top because we also recognize this question coming from a listener overseas. And we've had communication before with this particular listener. And so just grateful for the encouragement that we receive from people literally all over the world. And so when this came in and we recognized the name and somebody that we've prayed for before and received encouragement from, and so thought it was a great question, and we were like, perfect, we'll do that one today. And I think that this also shows part of the reason why is because I want people to know, no matter where you are in the world, like we are listening to you, we're praying for you, and we also would love to hear from you. So if you reach out, we're going to do our best to help and answer questions and do what we can. So read the question for us.
All right, today's question.
She doesn't have her glasses on, so we'll see.
You
if
weren't
this...
supposed to tell. Now
Nope.
they're going to notice me squinting.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to hear me. I thought I muted.
Okay, here we go. What do you do with the wedding rings, anniversary dates, memories of favorite places like restaurants or walking trails used during the affair?
Yep. We actually get this question a lot. So that's part of the reason why we wanted to answer this. And I think we've probably touched on it in some previous episodes. You know, you guys, when you get into over 250 episodes, that's a lot.
Yeah, not to re-mention things.
Yeah, but here's what I think. I know this happens. There's a lot of you, and I love it when they say, "Oh, we found you, a few weeks ago. We listened to a lot of the recent ones, and then we went back and started listening to all of them." And I think that's so cool. But I also think that because I'm big into podcasting, much like you. You love listening to podcasts.
I listen to them constantly.
She doesn't, by the way. But most people that get into podcasting and listening to podcasts, if there's something that's been around for years, not the normal regular person doesn't go back and listen to all of them. I love those people that do that. But most people are like, oh, well, I like this podcast. I'll start listening now. Right. And so then people reach out to us and they say, hey, I'd love for you to do a podcast on so-and-so. And I'm like, yep, we've done that probably 4 times. But I think it's fine and it's good to, share some new information.
But not only that, I can remember when I was meeting with Penny regularly, and she would say something that would completely change my world, and I would write it down. I would be like, oh my gosh, Penny, that's so good. I can't believe you've never said that before. And she's like, I have. But I think that our hearts are in different places along the journey. And, sometimes it's kind of like when you listen to a sermon and you go, gosh, that is just what I needed. Like my soul feels refreshed. That was so encouraging. And you might send it to somebody you love to be encouraged by it. And they're like, because they weren't in a part in their world where that landed. And so I think different topics land on our hearts in different ways on our journey. So you may have heard this topic before, but it may land differently now than it did then.
I think that just to jump into this question now, we hear this a lot, these similar type questions about what do we do with these memories and these, anniversaries and things that were such an important part of our marriage, and then it all gets tainted by infidelity or whatever the betrayal
or
is.
It can be a specific thing, like me and my affair partner went to that place, or maybe, your spouse confessed to, that's where, something happened, or, there's lots of different things. We've even met with somebody that their favorite restaurant, got tainted because one of them went with an affair partner at that restaurant. And so it's like, I don't ever want to go there again.
Yeah.
And, and there's different emotions that come along with that for sure. And they're all real.
Yep. All right. So let's just kind of take it maybe in a little bit of an order of the way the question was asked. So I think the first thing, because this is a hang up for a lot of people, and we get stuck here, or people get stuck here on the wedding ring. And I think a lot of people, they come to us and they say, well, my spouse doesn't want me to wear my wedding ring anymore, or my spouse won't wear their wedding ring anymore. And it could be either side of it, but it's usually the person that's been betrayed. They look at this as a symbol that was a commitment, and the commitment was broken. And so there's all of these thoughts that go along with that, such as, we've even had people that have said, well, I asked my spouse, did you have your wedding ring on when you were, committing these
actively committing adultery?
And how could you not look and see your commitment and see the wedding ring and stuff? And just to, that's it's heavy. And it is a really, I feel all of those emotions that come from people. And so, to be real honest, there's a lot of different ways, I guess, that could be handled. You and I, we still have our same wedding bands. One of the things that I have found to be really interesting, but also makes it a little bit more confusing, is that the ring that you have on your finger is my commitment to you. And so that, I think a lot of times the spouse, that has been betrayed will say, I don't want you to wear that wedding ring anymore because it didn't mean anything to you whenever you were doing what you were doing. But in reality, that ring is my promise to you. This one
on your hand,
on my hand, is the one that was broken.
Right.
And so sometimes, I'm just being completely honest, sometimes I don't know what to do with that. I don't know and I've thought, do I want another wedding band just as a symbol of a new commitment, And I've thought through that before. But then I also think about how the day that you gave this to me, it was a covenant and it was a commitment. And yes, it was broken, but it's also been restored. And so, it's been on my finger for almost 30 years. And when I think about the 30 years that we've been through, sometimes, you have to understand, so those of you that are listening, you're like, yeah, I know the struggle. But I think about everything we've been through, and so it's so special. But at the same time, it's so out of date. And I'm like, I really want one of those cool rings. But then I'm like, but do I?
Yeah.
Because this one means so much.
Yeah.
Even though it was broken. I believe that. I believe that commitment was broken. And so there's a lot of emotions. And I think basically where I'm trying to go with this is there's things that you process along the way after betrayal that there's not a right or wrong answer to it. And for those of you that are like, I just can't look at my wedding ring in the same way anymore. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Get a new one. There's nothing, you don't have to feel bad about that.
Sure.
And
it's okay if it's different than what we did or somebody else did.
And I have thought about, we're about to come up next month, literally 1 month from this coming up week. We'll be 30 years married, 15 years adultery 15 years post. I think it's pretty significant. This one is a pretty significant. 30 years is a pretty significant anyway.
Without what we've
but
been
it just
without
makes
the marker.
it just makes it feel different.
Yep.
And I've even thought maybe that's when maybe I get a new one that's just like, man, we made it another 15 years and like now I have a cool wedding ring. But
what kind do you want?
I don't know, and I don't even know. See, that's the thing. And so I mean, I'm really just talking. Like we haven't talked about. We've talked about this on coaching calls, but we've never really. We just haven't dived into it like this, dove into it. But I just think that those are the kind of things that you guys like. Don't do it in a way of conflict. Do it in a way of what can we do that makes our marriage healthier. And like for us, I think that for me, for the last 15 years, the healthy part of it is me being able to look at my ring and go, man, we've been through a lot.
And
it's still there, you know, and it's the same one that you put on my finger. No changes, no alterations. It's the same one. And as painful as some of that is and can be sometimes, I never took it off. I didn't take it off I didn't take it off while we were healing. And now I can look at it and I think, because it's the process that I've been through, this is totally redeemed and totally restored. And so I'm fine with it. Now, if I get another wedding ring at some point, it's probably just because I want it to look really cool, but then I'll process and say, yeah, but this is the new commitment, you know? So wedding rings, I'm a big believer in wedding rings. And I know there's people out there that are like, oh, well, it makes it hurts my finger, or it feels weird, or, I'm allergic to some.
Just get a silicone one. It's fine.
I mean, and we, some people we know and love and some of our best friends don't wear wedding rings. I'm just a huge fan. I'm just a huge believer in wedding rings. Yeah. And I think that it is because I want to be able to look down, but I also want everybody else.
And that's what I was going to say. That's, to me, is the bigger picture. I mean, is not the bigger picture. It's more important than even you looking at it. Is people saying, he's married.
We don't want somebody to treat you a little bit different, somebody from the opposite sex, because you're not wearing a wedding ring. And it happens. Sure, very much happens. Yes.
I mean, because there are, friends that are not married who are looking, and they look for a ring. Like, no, I'm not going to talk to him. He has on a wedding ring, And so it's just important. So get one that you like. Do the silicone. If your job, is like, oh, I can't have this for. We went to look at. Yeah, and I know there are. We don't have to go down that path. I'm just saying, there's something you can wear, and we know people who've tattooed tattoos, like a ring on. But I do. I agree with the importance. Mine is not the original band. I've actually made some changes to mine, but they're special to me because of you're like, it's the same one, no changes. And to me, I needed to change, like our commitment changed 15 years ago. And so I still have on the original band, and the original diamond, but it's just set different, and it's in an anniversary gift from 25 years of marriage. And then also it's soldered together with my parents, my mom's ring and their dates. And all of that is just really special to me and a reminder to me. And so there's not a cookie cutter answer for this one. It's what makes you feel, like if you need a new one, get a new one.
And I think that's the important thing. Like you guys talk about it, but not, like I said, not in a way of I'm not wearing your ring anymore. It's like, hey, let's do something that shows now. Here's where we are. We're moving forward. So if that's renewing your vows or whatever you choose to do, there's a lot of people that do that, and those are really special things. So yes, go for it. Whatever you need to do there. Now, I think the next question, or the next part of the question was, what about restaurants and anniversaries? Yes. And, anniversaries are hard. They're hard, and they're hard.
Let me ask, are you talking about like our wedding anniversary or the anniversaries of confession?
I think both.
Okay.
I think both. But
I just wanted to clarify.
But just for a second, like thinking about, like your anniversary, your actual anniversary, it can be really difficult because in our situation, there was
Right.
things going on during our anniversary. And so that's a hard pill to swallow. And
Sure.
really every year, it could come up to where I think about it or dwell on that. And it's so much just a mind shift of, well, that's not who you are now. And even though I could go there. I could get to a place where I could just dig a pit and jump in it or fall in it.
Well, and not only that, but you could jump in the pit and drag me down with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for how you handle it, not just for you, but for our marriage in general.
It's just the shift in the perspective of that is no longer, that's not who we are now. And so you're changing and you're looking at the gratitude. So it's more of I'm thankful for the redemption. I'm thankful that we're still together. I mean, and that's, I think, even looking at this coming up on 30 years, that's where my mind will go is 30 years and we have been through so much and we're still together. And not only just still together, we're thriving.
We're not hanging on by a thread, still together. Like we are stronger, than ever. And so I think about the places and anniversaries and things like that. I said earlier, anniversary. Do you mean the anniversary of like our wedding anniversary or the anniversary of confession? And I don't even really like to call it an anniversary of confession because that sounds like it's something to be celebrated. So I'm specifically talking about wedding anniversaries, and they're a celebration of how far you've come and how that you've made it this far, and looking forward to the years to come. A couple of Sundays ago, Matt Chandler did a sermon, I think it was called Rejoice. And in one part, he says that you need to have a goal for what you want your life to be. And everything that you put in your mind, that you listen to, that you read, that you allow people to invest in, has to be pushing you towards that goal. And this can be, people have exercise goals, weight goals, things, health goals, things like that. But I'm talking specifically, what do I want my life, to look like? And he was talking about how he wants to be sitting on the back porch one day. He, did all his stuff with, I don't even know how to say that, jiu-jitsu or whatever that he does. And he wants to be black belt and all this stuff. But he wants to be sitting next to his wife, watching grandchildren play. And like, that's the goal. And when I think about our anniversary, like, I don't like to look back. It is a celebration of, we are now almost 30 years married and 30 years working towards a goal of being together. And I'd love to be sitting on the back porch with a cup of coffee and watching our grandkids play one day and or playing with them. That sounds way more fun. But I'm just saying that I feel like the anniversary is not just a celebration of how far we've come, but also a looking forward and looking towards what our future might look like. And then everything that we do around that day needs to point towards our goal.
The anniversaries are also times that you create new memories. And so they may be slow to come by and it may take, multiple years, but you can definitely replace hard memories with positive things. And so that would be the other thing, is that I would none of the days that come along that are hard for you, should it be set aside for, this is a day of moping and mourning and sadness. Like, that's your opportunity to say, no, I'm going to reclaim this day as something positive.
Right.
And, I just think about July 27th that's coming up for us in the 30th year. And I don't know what we have a weird summer schedule. But when it's not
weird for us. We're
Well,
used to
yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
we're-
it's
we-
weird
Right.
because it's not normal to everybody else.
So on that particular day, we probably will not like do anything magical but I do know that whatever we do, we're going to try to create a memory that next year we're going to think back and we're going to remember that.
Remember last year?
Yeah, we're not going to remember 15 years ago and be going, oh my gosh, what were you doing on this date 15
Right.
years ago? You know, that's not what. And so, I just would encourage you to, as best you can, reclaim dates, and especially dates like don't avoid them because they come up every year. It's the same calendar.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm fixing to get into the reason why I said that is because I am going to say there are some things that you can avoid, but you can't avoid dates. So just recognize it for what it is and then make a new memory there. But as far as places, restaurants, I think it said something about walking trails or something like that. And I get it. You know, I mean, I could spout off 5 to 10 places or things that still will trigger something. I mean, it happened to me yesterday, so I know, and I mean, passed by some place that I don't pass by on a normal basis, and it triggered something, and it made me think about it, and so those are the kind of things that I do believe there are some things that you just avoid if you can, and if you can remove yourself from situations to where you don't have to replay that over and over again, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just saying, you know, we're going to do our best to avoid that. And that's probably best, and especially for a time. But there's also some things that you may just put your foot down and say, no, I'm not going to let the enemy have that. And, you know, I think we have shared this. And you can share it about the restaurant because you started sharing it earlier that there was a couple.
Yeah, there was a couple. And this one sticks out in my mind because it was their favorite restaurant that they went to together. And one of the spouses went with their affair partner to that restaurant. And it was heartbreaking for the other spouse because they were like, that was our place. And they didn't really want to give it up. It was like, you know, it's our place. And she kind of dug her heels in and we're like, we're going to make it our place again. And we were like, go for it. Like, don't just run. And so they went for an anniversary. Well, you know what? I don't think that's true. They went, they just went on a date there. And she said, you know, it was really hard. It was really hard at the beginning. And they, even before they ordered or anything, they just prayed and they asked God to make it their place again and make it special and make it new. And we've actually done this exercise with a couple of different couples. And I can remember one of the couples were like, it's ours again. It is, there's no memory of that. Like every time we go in, we claim it as ours. Like, this is ours. We're not going to let the enemy have this or take this from us. But then the other couple was like, we redeemed it, we restored it, and we're never going back. It was like, we're going to find a new place.
Yep.
But when that person drives by that restaurant, it doesn't have to always trigger that because they have new memories there. And that's what, I mean, there's all kind of, you know, psychology that goes that can support memory replacement. Like, take this and instead of remembering it this way, make something new, make something, just for y'all. And so that's 2 totally different ways to handle something, but it just reminds you to make sure that that what I was going to say is use your words and say the expectations. When you were saying, like, you know, you don't need to set aside a date for moping. Like, you both know that the day is coming up. It's not a surprise. And so it's very, very wise to say, hey, I know our anniversary is coming up. I know it's going to be hard this year. I know that it might not look exactly like you want it to, and I want it to look like you want it to. So what do you want that day to look like? And if they say, I want you to leave me alone and not talk to me all day, say, let's do something different. Let's make a new memory. Let's do something different. Let's go out of town. Let's, whatever it is, just to try to reclaim that date for yourselves and to replace old memories with new memories.
I think that there's some situations where you go and you reclaim them. You take your spouse, you set that expectation, just like you said, and you say, I want to, however we can, as best we can, I want to reclaim this. I also think there's some things that you just avoid. And you can share that expectation as well. And so I want you guys out there to know that we didn't go to all of the hard places, and there's a lot in our story, a lot of hard places. And it's not because you came to me and you said, oh, I met somebody there. It's not always that. It's just there's lots of little steps. I mean, we've talked about how, you don't wake up one morning and decide you're going to commit adultery. It happens thousands of little steps. And when you put those little steps together, there become a lot of places that can be painful. And so I don't want somebody out there to get this impression that we've gone to all of these places and we've been like, oh, let's create a new memory. And so now we can, because there's still places that are just really, really hard. And so we just don't do it. But there's also places, and this is, I want people that are listening to know that this can be really, really deep, because we have some places, specific places, and like even that are spiritually have been transformed in such a deep way. And I don't want to get into all of those details and things, because I don't want people to, have thoughts and wonder and images and things like that. But even like a small example would be, you guys have heard us that we had a really hard situation at our previous church, because that's where we were when it was happening. And it was a place that was so special and so dear to us, with lots of dear people. But there was so much pain that happened. And so we left that church, and we're in a new church. But we have so many friends and people that we love that are still in that church. But it's hard for us to go back there. But our son just got married there. And I thought of, and somebody even asked me about that during the process. And I just remember saying, it's just another piece of the redemption story, And so there's just some things that spiritually can be renewed. There can be beautiful things, even to a place where you can look at it and go, only God, only God. And like, for those of you that had a chance to hear us even tell just about our room up here, and like right. The redemption of where we do our marriage coaching and stuff. We could have easily just moved away from this house, but we chose to stay, and so we chose to redeem lots of places. So I just want you guys that are listening to feel and hear me say, I understand, and none of it is silly. I don't think any of it's silly. I don't think you're being, but I also know that God's bigger, and He can. But it requires communication. It requires expectation, and it just requires being on the same page together, and then journeying in a direction that's gonna be healthy for your marriage. So I hope that was helpful. I hope it answered your question. Thank you for writing in from so far away.
We need to change our song. Summer not so short. Summer not so short.
Well, if we hurry, we usually do 30 minutes. So if you'll stop talking, we can be done in 29
long.
minutes. Hey, see you guys next time.
Peace.
Hope for your heart, healing for your home, the redeemed.